Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having an absolutely incredible day. Don't forget to follow me on my other YouTube channel called Money Rules. There's a link in the description below, and without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Boy, oh boy, once again, and I say once again because you'll understand where I'm coming from. Once again, we've made it. We have circled back around, circumnavigated to find the bullish land. I don't know if that sounds correct. Everyone, for some reason, is re-bullish on crypto again. We have had, by far, if you missed the last couple of videos, this is mathematically the longest period that we've ever had after a Bitcoin halving of prices not really reacting. A number of analysts believe and stated around mid-summer that basically the crypto market got too hot too quick after the ETFs were launched, and we kind of went into like a mini bull run. Summer apparently was a re-accumulation phase, and now once again, the mutterings, the discussions are that we are good to go back up to the top. This is tying into the expectations of the Fed lowering interest rates. And then people also have a problem with how much they might be lowering interest rates. Some people are bullish on it, some people are bearish on it and think that we might be in a recession. And then you have the other people who think that any rate cut is going to be good for all the markets and therefore good for the cryptocurrency markets. And also, this isn't a joke, it sounds like it, but apparently all of the charts for Bitcoin and all the cup and handles and other things like that, they're all indicating that now is the time to move up. And depending on where you click and where you look, I'm sure you've seen Uptember, Uptober, and all these other phrases where people believe that September and October are once again going to be the months where we begin our stride back up until January, where the real magic happens. So they say. Now the discussion has lightly shifted to people selling. I don't have the one particular article here, but we've spoken before about how the main people who are selling are just retail investors. And we're seeing a large amount of accumulation from whales. There also seems to be, even recently, more retail investors have become flustered and frustrated with the market, and therefore they've left. And therefore, one of the most popular news stories of the day, someone by the name of Scott Melker, widely known as the Wolf of All Streets, Clever, has shared a bold prediction regarding Bitcoin amid ongoing price fluctuations. According to Melker, Bitcoin could potentially reach $1 million by 2030. That is a very common price prediction for those of you who have missed out on it for some reason. This cycle, people are expecting depends on where you're looking, anywhere from a $200,000 to a $600,000 Bitcoin. By the year 2029, Plan B, Novogratz, Cathie Wood, everyone under the sun who's an analyzer has stated a Bitcoin price in 2029 of anywhere from $800K to $1.2 million. He says $1 million by 2030. In a reflective take, he expressed how many investors might look back and regret their short-term decisions. We've also had this conversation before, and I told you and will tell you again, I cannot and will not tell you where to put your money. However, I will say that when it comes to investing across all asset classes, It's just about buying and holding and waiting. Thus, the me telling you, do not put money into the market that you cannot afford to lose. People don't pay attention to this, but this is the honest truth. If the market goes down, you have to be unaffected. If the market goes up, cool, I made some money. The point is always long-term profit. Whether you are buying land, whether you are buying real estate, whether you are buying stocks, whether you are buying gold, whether you are buying crypto. All asset prices continue to move up higher as time goes along. The problem is about 90% of new entrants into the market tend to be retail. This is their first time in any financial market. And if prices go down, as they have not done any research into any other asset classes and refuse to do research after, they simply sell off their positions and then they end up buying back when the market goes up too high, or at the end of a cycle, they end up losing money, they become discouraged and don't re-enter the market once again until prices move back up. Remember the 2.5 year period we were talking about, where whales and rich wallets continued to buy over the course of 2.5 years, and then we get news that they own all the Bitcoin, and people throw their hands up in frustration and go, well, that's not fair. Yeah, because they kept their head down and just kept on buying. That's how investing works. It's not about prices going down 3% and then you panicking and running away. I told you before, crypto's not for everyone. I'm not trying to test you. This isn't a Matrix style, event where I'm like, if you can't handle the pill, then go away. No, it's literally not for everyone. That's the honest truth of the market. So whenever these coins get sold off, whenever prices go down, whenever we have any kind of fluctuations and people sell off, it's always retail. And then we get news that whales bought the coins back up. And then the poor people don't have any more money. And that's the theme of the last 100 years. The assets continuously slide from those who need it to those who already have an abundance of it. Specifically, Melker highlighted the common tendency to panic over smaller price drops, like Bitcoin's movement from 57,000 to 52,000 this month. However, in his view, those who sell too early will look back in regret when they see Bitcoin at $1 million per coin, while they sold at 52,000. People ask me quite often, when am I buying? How do I buy? What's my buying pattern? I buy this is me personally. I buy all the time. I don't care if prices are up, if prices are down. It means nothing to me. It makes no actual difference. There is no difference to me in buying Ether at 1,200, 3,200, 4,800 when I know that eventually it's going to 10,000, it's going to 15,000. Ether will at some point be at $25,000 per coin. Buying Bitcoin at 4,000, 40,000, 47,000, 63,000 when it's going to $500,000, when it's going to $1 million per coin. People keep trying to time the markets, and all you're doing is making yourself more broke. Sorry for being mean, but this is this common situation that we have over and over. And then you look at people who don't have any assets and they go, I wonder why I don't have anything. Is because you were trying to time the market over the course of the last couple of years. It's the same exact thing with housing. I have a couple of friends, they keep trying to time the housing market. They want to see how low it's going to go. You can't know how low something is going to go. You simply have to get into the market and you know that prices will recover. You will make money. You're looking at the day-to-day. You're not looking at the 10 years ahead. Melker's commentary calls investors to focus on the broader picture rather than reacting to short-term fluctuations. His advice encourages investors to maintain a long-term mindset. I'm like a psychic before even having to read through this. Emphasizing patience and trust in Bitcoin's sustained rise over the next decade. It's absolutely insane what we're seeing. We are going to live in such a, first of all, we already live in such a economically divided culture. And that's only going to continue to get worse. I will be honest with you, I was skeptical a number of years ago about the idea of like a shrinking middle class, or the middle class not doing as well. It's because they keep selling everything. They don't hold on to anything. There's no idea of like holding on for the future, of passing down assets. It's about consuming and buying as many small little things as you want right now. There's no preparation for the future. The people who are preparing for the future are the people who already have the generational wealth, who are trying to build more of it to control and own all the assets. Once again, crypto's not for everyone. It's not. It's far too volatile. It's far too crazy. The cycles are far too boom and bust and all these other dramatic kinds of things. But this extends to any asset class. If you at some point decide to leave crypto and go somewhere else, for the love of goodness, don't buy a house and then try and flip it like you're on HGTV and you want to, record it. No, like hold on to your assets. Anywho, the optimism is actually back in the market. It's a little weird. I'm not holding my breath. It's just more of a let's see where things are going. Analyst predicts a $4,000 midterm target for Ethereum. Declares an end to the ETH correction. I don't know what it is with people and Ethereum and them assuming that this coin is over or ending or won't recover or can't come back. The last 5 weeks was really weird for Ether, because even when there were significant amounts of inflows, this has been happening the entire summer, into the Eth ETFs, the news was constantly just focusing on outflows from the ETFs. I don't know what this, I'm trying to not use rude language, but everyone is so desperate to try and make it seem like Ethereum has no interest or nobody wants it or no one. There's a reason why all these mega companies chose Ether and not the other crappy altcoins that you're holding. There's a reason for it. Anywho, yeah, so people are predicting that the downward trend for Ether has ended, will come to an end. Do you know the only people who are selling Ether? I'll give you one guess. Starts with the letter R. Retail investors. It's not a joke. The only people who were selling, even when there were outflows from the actual Ethereum ETFs, the people who were selling on crypto exchanges were smaller wallets. There's no patience. There's no waiting. There's simply now and today, not tomorrow, yesterday. I need the money right now. There is no, you know how long I've been in this market and have been holding and haven't sold? Other people get into the market and they're here for a month and a half. They hear that prices are going to go up. And then when the prices don't go up in a day and a half, they sell. And then when prices go back up, they rebuy back in at a higher price. Also, there's a lot of XRP price news, but I think that's kind of normal. There's always XRP price news like every day in the market. A lot of discussions as to when XRP is going to hit $1. There's a lot of discussion around the XRP stablecoin that is coming out apparently very soon. Question mark? I don't know. It's the news that we keep getting. There's a lot of price rebound, price boom, price skyrocket. If you look on Twitter, it is like abundant. So many people keep saying, you know, like this week, XRP is going to do this and so and blah, blah, blah. It will happen eventually. No one knows it. People also keep trying to time this as well. There's one in particular is talking about XRP going up to $4.20. Sure, why not? I think it's just a matter of sentiment needs to change for the coin. And also, if we can be completely honest, a relative price manipulation for it. Over the course of the last 4 years, Ripple partnered with a number of companies and countries who are all buying XRP. I would logically assume that behind the scenes, some country somewhere was doing something to make sure that the price remained low so they could accumulate a lot of it. When the price will rise for XRP, that's basically anyone's guess at this point. We'll see if we start pumping in price and Bitcoin actually moves up to where it should be, because we should be well over $200,000 by this point with all this accumulation that's going on and how little Bitcoin is left on exchanges. But we'll see. That's the optimism prices going back up news. And yeah, let's move on. In very popular propaganda news, and it needs to stop because it's getting a little cringy over and over and over, North Carolina has banned the US CBDC in a significant move that highlights ongoing resistance to central bank digital currencies in the United States. Your politicians are lying to you. Your politicians are lying to you. Your politicians are lying to you. For those of you who haven't been keeping track of this news, I totally understand. And for those of you living in the US or have been seeing this news all over the place, your politicians are trying to find a brand new way to scare you and to fearmonger you and to make you think that this thing, a CBDC, is going to be the thing that is your economic downfall. That this will be the way that the government is tracking and tracing you. That this particular thing that the Fed has said that they're not even remotely close to even thinking about making. We had that news earlier this year. People, for some reason, were at a meeting with the Fed and they were like, when's the CBDC coming out? And they said, we don't have any plans at all to do that. You're being brainwashed into thinking that when they release this, that this is going to be the thing that keeps you down economically. And not the politicians within your country who keep lowering taxes, and you go, but no, lowering taxes is a good thing. And then you actually read the bills that you're, getting signed. They're lowering taxes for the wealthy, and the lack of savings gets passed on to you, and your programs get cut, and your school funding gets cut, and everything else that you have for childcare and everything else that keeps getting cut. No, this is the thing that you should be scared about. It's the central bank digital currency that they're not even remotely close to making. As we've gone over before, and I keep having to bring this up because this is almost daily news. There are multiple states within the United States that keep releasing news in the cryptocurrency. I'm not sure how this became crypto news. I guess it's because the idea is a CBDC is meant to be on a blockchain, which is also a lie. It can be anywhere. It can be on a computer system. It'll just be a digitized version of the fiat currency that you have right now. The idea is that for those of you who don't know and what have you, is that when these are released and they're everywhere, it'll be kind of this really weird dystopian world where people don't have money and they don't have access to assets and they can't afford their rent and that sounds like right now. Central bank digital currencies are not going to follow you or track you or trace you any more than you currently are tracked and traced right now. Every movement you make literally is tracked by your phone's maps. Everything you look at online, everything you hover over. When you're on social media, if you look at an image, here's a kicker. If you look at an image for too long, that data also goes into your public profile as well. Like it is stored there that you looked at something, and this is what gives you relevant ads for the things you are hovering over. Have any of you seen the new iPhone that just came out? And like the big new thing is that it has AI, and everyone's like, yeah, Apple Intelligence. You know that part of that is like an eye tracking thing. So as you are looking on your screen, the camera is tracking your eye movements to see what you're interested in. This central bank digital currency is not going to track you any more than you're currently already being traced by the current economic system that was put in place since around the mid 90s, and dare I even say, if you know history, since 2001. It's really weird that this keeps popping up, that this is seen as some type of like a freedom or a helping kind. You are traced and tracked. You want to know something even crazier? I knew a couple people years ago who were working for these like agriculture companies. And I mean, this was like 2012, 2013. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So you work in fields and stuff like that? And they said, no, that they worked with like satellites. And I was like, huh? They worked, like the company basically was, they had a whole bunch of satellites that kind of like went around the globe or like to specific areas depending on who hired them, because they had a lot of government contracts. And what they basically did was, part of what they did was that they would have a satellite kind of like over a field. So let's say you were a farmer and you were like, I want to track my crops and their growth. So you would basically be able to see, like over the course of multiple years, if there was more frost on certain years, if there was more drought, you know, if your crops were drying out, so you can kind of see the trend as to what you needed to plant, or if things that were more resilient to heat or to cold, that kind of thing, to track it. And I was like, huh. And he said, yeah, the other part of that is, the satellites are so strong. Understand this. You know how far a satellite has to be in space for it to not be dragged back down to Earth by gravity? And he was saying the satellites are so far away, think about this, that they could see frost growing on leaves. And he said some of the other companies who hire them use it for basically tracking and looking for people. They'll have it over a city to see the patterns of movement of people in a city and in a town, and where they're going and where they're shopping and what they're frequenting and how they move, and the time of day when stores usually don't have a lot of traffic. So when should stores close? You are being tracked more than you could possibly begin to imagine. And your politicians are lying to you, telling you that they need to ban central bank digital currencies because that's the threat. That's the problem. That's what you should be afraid of. North Carolina's General Assembly has passed a bill to ban any central bank digital currency issued by the U.S. Fed. According to a report from Cointelegraph, the bill prohibits the state from accepting CBDCs as a form of payment. Why would this be? Do you know that anytime you spend money anywhere, you are being tracked? When you tap your card, when you swipe your card, when you buy something on Amazon or anywhere, you know you're being tracked already, right? What makes you think that the central bank digital currency is going to be the thing that like puts you in chains? And, you know, that's the thing that's stopping you from living your best free life. You know that even when you take money out of an ATM and when you walk around, there are cameras everywhere. They know what store you went into. You know, when you walk into a Best Buy or wherever you're going shopping, they also have cameras there as well. They know what you're buying. What planet are you living on where you think that the CBDC is the thing that's going to take away your freedom? Do you not know what the world is already like? Why is it so easy for people to get lied to by politicians specifically? This is usually like constant news. Like I want to say once or twice a week, there's some kind of US based central bank digital currency. You need to be afraid of it. I'm seeing it also popping up in news in other countries, but that's also because people are usually quite prone to fall for propaganda very, very easily, because like it's this desire to like want to be afraid. And you're constantly thinking that there must be something to be afraid of. So if a politician sells you like a couple of letters and then you're afraid of that, you miss all the times that other bills are being signed that are actually taking away freedoms that you had. The bill had already been passed by both House and Senate. Apparently someone tried to veto it, and then apparently it got unvetoed. And yeah, so cool. It's awesome that North Carolina will never have a central bank digital currency, but everything else that you do is already being tracked. It's a really clever way to lie to people. It's a very, very clever way to make them think. Because if people are afraid of the idea of what the Fed can do as far as like money printing power, also like inflation power and, raising and lowering interest rates, all you have to do is kind of point and say they're going to take away your power and your control. And it's like, no, you all allowed that a very long time ago. Very, very long time ago. That's the incredibly popular. People online were like, shouting and praising this news as something revolutionary that everyone needs to do. You're losing sight of the world that already exists around you and has existed this way for a while. But cool on the banning, that's the real issue. Not people not being able to afford where they live or anything else. Okay. Let's move on. Also in very popular news, BlackRock has announced the launch of an Ethereum ETF on Brazil's B3 stock exchange. The new ETF, under the ticker symbol ETHA39, ETHA39, will provide Brazilian investors with exposure to Ether. This move follows the introduction of BlackRock's ETF in Brazil, which debuted in March 2024, under the ticker symbol IBIT39. Brazil, for those of you who do not know, for a number of years has been the place in Latin America for crypto. It just kind of turned out that way. I don't really know why. They were one of the first countries who had multiple cities, whose cities began to accept crypto for their like nation's treasury kind of thing. It was Sao Paulo, and I forgot the other city that also did it as well. Basically, their city's mayors before New York and before Miami begin to buy Bitcoin for the cities. I don't know if they're still doing it, but that was the news a number of years ago. Everything new that got launched happened in Brazil. All the cryptocurrency companies were opening up exchanges in Brazil. Every time that there was like a proposal for like a crypto exchange or crypto laws or crypto rules and regulations, Brazil did it in like half a year. There was none of this, 13-year nonsense with the US SEC. Brazil was simply on it. So yeah, I assume there's a huge amount of money to be made there, in that BlackRock would not choose Brazil or any other random country if they didn't know that there was going to be an enormous way for them to actually profit from it. Not the most spectacularly exciting news, but this was very popular news. It had to do with the words BlackRock and Brazil and money and Ethereum and where people think the market's going to go. I'm very fascinated to see. We've had multiple Ethereum ETF launches around the world recently. There are about 7 or 8 other countries, if you remember the news over the course of summer, who now have full Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, with some of them having like actual ones, like the ones in Hong Kong, where they trade exclusively in crypto. So there is no swapping out like the US ones, for those of you who don't know. You trade the shares back and forth. So you have exposure to the crypto, but when you cash out of them, you get US dollars. This is the only reason why the US SEC said it. It's to uphold the strength of the US dollar, for those of you who don't know. Hong Kong has it so that like when you are trading the shares back and forth and you swap out, you get the crypto. Like that's an actual like crypto ETF that they have. But they're beginning to launch everywhere. So interested to see what extra liquidity this is going to push into the market and what effect these ETFs will have on Ethereum's price. It's one thing to just have them within the United States, but multiple other countries with multiple other billionaires and millionaires having, and also normal people, if you will, having access to them, leads to a huge amount of, billions of dollars of extra movements and money to be pushed into the market. Yeah. I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.